Hey, don't rage quit bro here. We're going to be going Inquisitor on this build for a few reasons, mainly for Battle Mage, which gives us added spell damage based on the damage of our main hand weapon. Battle Mage is only available 3 ways, and 2 of which are weapons. Because we are using the new skill gem Energy Blades, the weapons won't work and we have to go Inquisitor. Energy Blades transforms whatever your weapon is to one that solely does lightning damage with no other mods, and this damage is based on your energy shield. My character currently has 6596 energy shield without energy blades active, and 3298 with it active. This grants the weapon 77 to 1554 lightning damage, with the average being 815.5. That 815 damage on the weapon will get added to all of our spells that we cast. We'll also be taking Righteous Providence for our second Ascendancy point, which will give us crit chance based on our strength and int, whichever is the lowest of the two. This means we'll be attribute stacking some, and that is great because we'll additionally be making use of the newly added Iron Will Keystone, which will make our strength increase our spell damage as well. For our last 2 Ascendancy points, we'll be taking Augury of Penitence and Inevitable Judgment. For the skill, I chose Arc, specifically Valarc, for this build. When we pop the Scourge mechanic, a single key press clears the entire screen and then some. Because of the clear we get on this, we essentially will be getting 2 maps for every 1 we put in the map device, as we can full complete the Nightmare Realm without issue. As for gear, there aren't any mandatory uniques for the build to work, but some do help significantly at a fairly inexpensive price point. I'll go over my current gear next, which is far from final form, but it's a good starter. For the helmet, we'll take the Crown of the Inward Eye, which will give us some armor, some energy shield, and a bit of damage. For the shield, we'll take Light of Lunaris. This gives us energy shield, crit chance and multi, and some flat cold damage to spells. For the gloves, I'd suggest Shaper's Touch, as we're doing some attribute stacking. And on that note, for our amulet, we'll be taking Astramentus, which gives us a ton of attributes. Note, depending on what your attributes are at for your character, you may be anointing Utmost Might or Utmost Intellect. In my case, I'm taking Utmost Intellect, and I'm currently sitting at 582 Strength and 608 Intelligence. For our boots, rings, and belt, we'll be getting Strength, Intelligence, Resistances, Life, and Energy Shield. And of course, move speed on boots. On our body armor, we'll pick up as much energy shield as we can, and if possible, some attributes or resistances as well. Next up is jewels. With the massive changes we had to the passive tree, we aren't gated nearly as much behind cluster jewels. However, I wanted to get Sealmender for increased unleash frequency, though I didn't want to get a large cluster jewel just for this. So I ended up picking it up on a Megalomaniac and grabbed a couple other useful notables there as well. For the rare jewels, I'd recommend getting life and a damage mod, like Crit Multi, then either additional damage mods or resistances or attributes to fill the other affixes. There are a few noteworthy masteries we'll be taking towards the witch side of the tree, which will make our non-crits damage lucky, give us +1 max chains for arc, and also +1 max unleash charges. As for other passive points, we're mainly focusing on strength and life and energy shield, getting damage where we can along the way. You might notice that I'm taking a single cluster for Aura Reservation. This allows me to run Clarity, Vitality, Wrath, Discipline, and Herald of Purity. And on the note of Herald of Purity, this herald is never really discussed, but I think it's one of the best heralds you can get if you do a lot of solo play. It gives you a constant 4 minions that get automatically resummoned. They provide great distractions for enemies, thus lowering the chances of the enemies actually targeting you in the first place. For the major Pantheon, I'm taking Soul of the Brine King, so he can't be stun locked and also can't be frozen. For the minor, I'm taking Soul of Aberrath currently, though I may change this later. Next up is Flasks. I currently don't have any of the expensive unique ones, and I'm just using regular magic flasks. I have a diamond, quicksilver, sulfur, granite, and divine life flasks, all of which have the prefixes of gaining charges on crit, and for suffixes I am taking remove burning, remove curses, increased cast speed, increased armor, and stop bleeding and corrupted blood. Next is skill gems. On our weapon we have Arcane Surge, Flame Dash, and Phase Run. I bind my left click to Phase Run. On our shield we have Vitality, Summon Stone Golem, and Vow Summon Skeletons. Typically I'm only popping skeletons when I do conquerors and scourge bosses. And on that note, I've killed all scourge bosses with this build. On our gloves we have Clarity, Wrath, Discipline, and Herald of Purity. On our boots, we have Arcanus Brand, Wave of Conviction, Hex Touch, and Assassin's Mark. On our body armor, we have Unleash, Added Lightning Damage, Crit Strikes, Crit Multi, and Inspiration. Last is our helmet, which I currently have as a flame totem setup, using multiple totems and elemental focus, with the fourth socket being where I have energy blades. I hope you all enjoyed the build that I have presented here, and by all means, share your ideas for using energy blades in the comments below.